If I told you that starting right now, your body is losing something it can never fully get back, would you want to know what it is? It's not your hair. It's not your eyesight. It's not even your energy. It's your muscle. And after the age of 50, most Americans are losing it faster than they realize. Researchers call it sarcopenia. And unlike the dramatic health scares you hear about on the news, this one happens slowly, quietly, and without any obvious warning until the damage is already done. Today, we're going to walk you through exactly what it is, why it accelerates after 50, why it's far more dangerous than most people think, and what the research says you can actually do about it. Because here's the truth. Muscle loss is not inevitable, but ignoring it is a choice with real consequences. Let's start with the basics. Most people have never heard the word sarcopenia, even though the process has been happening in their body for decades. Sarcopenia describes the gradual, age-related decline in skeletal muscle mass, strength, and function, and it begins earlier than almost anyone expects. Research suggests that most people start losing muscle mass somewhere in their 30s. After 50, that rate accelerates. After 60, it accelerates again. Studies estimate that adults lose between 3 and 8% of their muscle mass per decade after 30. By the time many Americans reach their 70s, they may have lost 30% or more of the muscle mass they had in their prime. That's not a small number. That's a third of the physical foundation your body depends on. And here's what makes it so difficult to catch. Because muscle loss happens gradually, most people chalk up the signs to simply getting older. They feel a little weaker. Stairs feel harder. Carrying groceries takes more effort. They assume that's just what aging feels like. It's not. It's sarcopenia. And it's not the same thing as normal aging. So what actually causes it? Number one, hormonal changes. After 50, levels of key hormones that signal the body to build and maintain muscle decline significantly. Testosterone drops in both men and women. Growth hormone levels fall. The result is that the body becomes less efficient at building new muscle tissue and more prone to breaking it down. Number two, reduced protein synthesis. Even when protein intake stays the same, the aging body becomes less efficient at turning that protein into muscle. Researchers call this anabolic resistance. This means older adults need more protein to achieve the same muscle building response as younger people. Yet most Americans over 50 are eating less protein than they need, not more. Number three, inactivity. Muscle is a use it or lose it tissue. When it isn't challenged regularly, the body has no biological reason to maintain it. A week of bed rest can cause measurable muscle loss in an older adult. A month of reduced activity can set someone back significantly. Number four, chronic inflammation. Research has identified a strong link between elevated inflammatory markers and accelerated muscle breakdown. Inflammatory cytokines directly interfere with muscle protein synthesis and promote the breakdown of existing muscle tissue. This is one reason why addressing inflammation and addressing muscle loss often go hand in hand. Now let's talk about why this matters beyond just feeling weaker. Because the consequences of sarcopenia reach much further than most people expect. The most immediate risk is falls and fractures. Muscle isn't just about strength, it's about stability, balance, and the ability to catch yourself when you stumble. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death among Americans over 65, and sarcopenia is one of the most significant contributing factors. Muscle tissue also plays a central role in how the body manages blood sugar. When you have more muscle mass, your body's more efficient at clearing glucose from the bloodstream. When muscle mass declines, that efficiency drops, and the risk of developing insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes rises significantly. Sarcopenia is also closely linked to cardiovascular health. People with lower muscle mass tend to recover more slowly from illness and surgery and are more likely to experience gradual loss of the ability to perform everyday tasks independently. And perhaps most importantly, research has identified low muscle mass as an independent predictor of early mortality, meaning that regardless of other health factors, people with more muscle mass in their 50s and 60s tend to live longer. Muscle isn't vanity, it's longevity infrastructure. Now let's get into what the evidence actually supports, because there's more you can do about this than most people realize. The single most effective intervention for sarcopenia is resistance training, not cardio, not stretching. Resistance training, exercises that challenge muscles against increasing levels of load. The research here is remarkably consistent. Progressive resistance training can increase muscle mass, improve strength, and restore function even in people in their 70s and 80s. The body retains the ability to build muscle at any age. It just requires the right stimulus. You don't need a gym or heavy weights to start. Body weight exercises, squats, push-ups, lunges, step-ups, provide meaningful resistance when performed consistently. Resistance bands are inexpensive and highly effective. The key principle is progressive overload, gradually increasing the challenge so the muscles are continuously stimulated to adapt. Most research points to 2 to 3 sessions per week as the threshold for meaningful benefit. 30 to 40 minutes of focused resistance work, done consistently, produces measurable results in muscle mass and strength within 8 to 12 weeks, even in older adults who have never trained before. Number 2, protein intake. This is where most Americans over 50 are significantly underdoing it. Current general guidelines suggest zero point 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. But research focused on older adults consistently finds this is not enough to counteract anabolic resistance. Most experts now recommend between 1.2 and 1.6 grams per kilogram per day for adults over 50. For a 170-pound adult, that's roughly 93 to 123 grams of protein daily. Quality matters too. Leucine, an amino acid found in high concentrations in meat, eggs, and dairy, plays a key role in triggering muscle protein synthesis. Each meal should ideally contain at least 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine. A palm-sized serving of chicken, fish, eggs, or Greek yogurt generally gets you there. Spreading protein evenly across meals also matters. Eating most of your protein at dinner, as many Americans do, is less effective than distributing it across breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Number 3, vitamin D and omega-3s. Vitamin D deficiency is widespread among Americans over 50, and research has linked low levels to reduce muscle strength and accelerated muscle loss. Getting levels checked and supplementing if necessary is a simple step many people overlook. Omega-3 fatty acids have direct benefits for muscle as well. Research has shown that omega-3 supplementation improves the muscle's response to protein and exercise, making it more sensitive to the signals that trigger growth and repair, which is especially relevant for older adults dealing with anabolic resistance. Number 4, stay active throughout the day, not just during workouts. Research has found that long, uninterrupted periods of sitting accelerate muscle loss even in people who exercise regularly. Breaking up sitting time, standing briefly every 30 to 60 minutes, taking short walks, using stairs, helps maintain the baseline muscle activation that contributes to muscle health over time. This isn't about exhausting yourself. It's about keeping the body in a state of regular, low-level physical engagement. That signal matters more than most people realize. Sarcopenia is one of those health issues where the gap between awareness and action is enormous. Most people have never heard of it. Most people don't connect their fatigue, their balance problems, their rising blood sugar, or their slowing metabolism to muscle loss. They assume it's just age. But it's not just age, it's a condition. And conditions respond to intervention. The adults who maintain the most muscle into their 60s, 70s, and beyond are not genetic outliers. They're the ones who challenge their muscles consistently, ate enough protein, and stayed active. Small, repeatable choices that compounded over time into a fundamentally different physical reality. You now know what sarcopenia is, why it happens, and exactly what to do about it. If this was useful, hit the like button. It helps more people over 50 find content like this. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And leave a comment below. Are you currently doing any resistance training? We'd love to know where you're starting from. We'll see you in the next one.